Game number 1 in our next series here in Group D, the final group of the European qualifier for the Nations Cup. We got Ukraine against Denmark. I'm looking forward to this series. This is very likely going to decide which team will advance out of Group D together with Sweden. Now, there's a couple of scenarios where it might come down to certain tiebreakers. That's definitely a thing. But generally speaking, Sweden is pretty much out of the group already. They didn't drop a single map. They already played against 2 opponents. And now we have Ukraine against Denmark. And I would say from the 3 remaining teams, these 2 are the favorites to still get a spot there. Unless the UK steps it up a bit. They struggled initially against Sweden when they played, but then in game number 2 they actually did a better job. So there could be quite a few things happening. Now all of this is obviously just the first stage of a tournament that will then lead to an offline event in Berlin. The whole thing taking place on the 10th and 11th of June. So if you want to spend a summer weekend in Berlin and enjoy some Heroes of the Storm at the same time, then you're more than welcome to stop by. The entrance is free. It's taking place at the Experian at the Alexanderplatz in Berlin. There's links in the description if you're catching this on YouTube right now where you can check all of this out. But as I said, entrance is free. We're going to have 4 teams of Europe there with all the players presented. We have a North American team and we're going to also invite an Asian team to have the entire event take place there. And it's going to be awesome. Really looking forward to it. Just happy that we have another offline event with international teams in Europe because, going to be blunt, I didn't really think we would be able to pull it off again, but we have, and it's going to be glorious. If you also want to help to make the event even better, there's a crowdfunding that is linked in the description as well. As you can imagine, it's not easy to get international offline events going these days. We managed to set 2 up last year in Miami. Now we have Berlin going, but we still depend on community support for all of this. So if you want to help out with that and not only make this event better, but also help us to host more events like this in the future, check out the link to the crowdfunding in the description. And there's also a couple of goals of targets with the crowdfunding that you can check out there. Now, our first game for this best of 3 series here in Group D, we get Lucio taken by Chiaseka, playing his account Soyboy, which I still find glorious. It would be even better if he was a Hanzo player, but I let Lucio slide. I mean, pretty much any Overwatch hero at this point, honestly. Denardo with Johanna. Personally, I'm kind of happy to see Denardo here too. The Ukrainian team with Arabano on Blaze, so it's a very typical and traditional rotation that they're aiming for here. Jojo Blaze is something that Washed Up for the longest time has done as their standard go-to rotation in the 1-2. This is a few years back, still in the post-HTC era, but it's pretty awesome to actually see all of that coming together here for them. We have Gul'dan and we now also have Leoric claimed for Denmark, so they are playing with Crosby's Gul'dan for wave clear. And having Crosby, I said it in the game against Sweden, but having him here is also amazing. We have some former HTC players that have still signed up for an event like this to represent their country, and it's just awesome. Meta Madness was a lot of fun because you had so many players that already said like, hey, I'm retired, come back and say, you know what? For Meta Madness, I'm still going to play the tournament. And now that we started with the Nations Cup and an offline event in Europe, there's a whole bunch of players that said, yes, I'm going to play, I'm going to participate, I'm going to try to represent my country here too. Tons of teams multiple teams have signed up for some of the countries, and then we had even regional qualifiers. So yeah, it's pretty awesome to just see how many players are signing up for this and are just happy to participate and have some fun here. Now with the bans, Diablo gets banned. Anduin gets also annihilated in the bans instead of the game, so the Crybaby is out. But what do we get? We need some damage. Through Spider Queen, you need a bit more wave clear on the front line. They have already done a great job covering this. Jojo and Blaze both have AoE that they can bring to the table and help out with this now. But what else are they gonna get to push this a bit from afar? Rega and Hanzo, that's what we're starting up with. Okay. Hanzo, of course, for vision, also on the turn-in points. And interrupt. But with Rega, you have the lightning shield that can help you to take these minion waves down even faster and then rotate from lane to lane and really take advantage of the very compact size of the map itself and how close the lanes are together. We have the final two picks, Kerrigan and Muradin. Alright, there's the aggression. A lot of CC for them too. Slows, stuns, Gul'dan with a Horrifier later. Okay, they're coming out swinging against Ukraine. This is the first match that Ukraine plays in this group, by the way. So they haven't played yet. This is the first one that they are now playing. For Denmark, on the other hand, they already faced off against Sweden, who are clearly the top dog in Group D, and they weren't able to win a map and lost it with an 0-2. Final pick, Mephisto, and well, guys, here we go. Tomb of the Spider Queen, Ukraine against Denmark. Let's go. Game number 1, Ukraine against Denmark. On the left side, it's Icecorp on Hanzo for the Ukrainian team. We have Arabano on Blaze, Denardo on Johanna, Blu-ray with Rega, and No Game, No Life on Mephisto. Going up against them on the right side is the Danish team with the Legend on Kerrigan. We have a Soy Boy, aka Chiaseka on Lucio, Chinatown on Muradin, Baby Houdini on Leoric, and Crosby, the blast from the past, is playing Gul'dan. Off we go. Yep, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be a good one. Definitely gonna have some fun with this. By the way, just a quick note also, I don't think I've really mentioned this in the game, so for the YouTube crowd, we have actually also added a new collection to the merch shop. So now we have Nations Cup merch, which will temporarily be available, but if you want to check that out, you will find a link in the description of the video as well. Has been added just a few days ago, and it's pretty sweet. Probably going to keep it in the shop until the event is over. Obviously, makes a whole lot of sense since it is very themed towards the event, and afterwards we will remove it again. But in case that you want to come to Berlin and represent, there's a good chance that this might be interesting to you. No Game, No Life. Oh, he needs to heal and he needs it quickly, and he doesn't get it. Kerrigan takes him down. The end of Mephisto. Well done. First blood for Denmark. Coming out with a big hammer and just blasting Mephisto. So, to the bottom of the map, the 1 versus 1 obviously set up with the Janitor dealing with Arabano's Blaze. Baby Houdini getting drained a bit. And over on the right side of the map, we now have the first camp about to be taken as well. So, yeah, we're off to a good start. Action from both teams right from the get-go, being aggressive in the middle of the map. Rotational plays, of course, now being made, with the blue team still having a whole lot of AoE damage that they can use here. Blaze even monitoring if anybody is trying to sneak in to maybe attack them as they're claiming their bruiser camp, which isn't the case. So now they can push through the bot lane towards the middle in order to defend against the opponent's mercenary camp, since both of them are going to clash here in just a second. But they're also going for the Siege Giants. We have a bit of a solo mission for our man Rega as he moves down here to take this one. In the middle of the map, the party is already on full blast. Stormbolt straight to the face of Johanna. And with level 4 we get the paralyzing rage now. Crosby with Gul'dan. Traditional build for him. No sucky build this time. Oh, that on the other hand spells out the end of Hanzo. Well done, Denmark. Look at that. They are doing fantastic here. I gotta admit that this is much more aggressive from them than I expected in this first game. And the plays that we're seeing from Kerrigan, with these combos being executed by the Legend, have found multiple targets now already. They've taken down Mephisto in that fight at the top lane, and now they were able to take Hanzo apart. That leads to a significant advantage in experience. And also, they were able to deny a couple of gems to the opponent. Even Blaze dying now. Damn, son. They're really starting off strong. Wow. If you would have asked me before this game who I personally favored, I would have said it's going to be close, but I would have probably given the blue team a bit of an advantage here, considering that the Ukrainians have played for a long time now in multiple online tournaments, whereas a lot of the Danish players, Crosby for example, haven't really participated in a lot of these competitive games. So seeing the red team doing this well early on is pretty cool. Ukraine will have to really dig deep in order to turn this one around, especially if they are losing Donato at the front. That's 24 gems that he's holding. You can't simply give those up. So the tank is in trouble, and good scouting also from Denmark as they are making sure that nobody approaches the turning point too quickly. Another Stormbolt connects. They're turning it on Denado again, and Kerrigan comes in, looks for the combo, gets a double stun, and they take Hanzo. Kerrigan gets finally punished, but Jojo is dead. Everybody dead or dying. Just look at this Rhaegar now. Jojo down, Hanzo dead, and Arabano barely able to recover the gems as they are focusing on Mephisto again to take the 7th kill of this game. What is happening with Denmark here? Damn. Yeah, really mad that they were defeated by the IKEA boys apparently, and now they're coming in with the first Webweaver wave at the 4.5 minute mark, a 1.5 level lead, and an enormous amount of aggression. Oh, damn. Boah. I did not think that we would start this game with this many fights, this many kills that quickly. I really thought that a lot of the teams would just play it a bit more passive, wait for opportunities, look to see if they can get a gank going, work around the objective, work around the gems, and just put their toes into the water and test it a bit. But instead, we're now getting massive attacks at the top. Once again, as Denado is getting attacked. This time, the combo of Kerrigan gets dodged out. Bottom of the map, Leo and Blaze are playing around the Web Weavers. Level 10 is getting so close right now. Super close for the Danish team. If they can get heroic abilities, they might just be able to push the Web Weavers, take the first fort down of this game. 7 kills to 1, level 10 any moment now. Arabano has 41 gems, by the way. That makes it so much easier for Denmark to keep tabs on what's happening with the turn-ins on the side of Ukraine. All they gotta do is watch out for Blaze, and he knows it too. He can't go deep to defend the fort here. He needs to stay back a little bit until he has some support, or they might just lose their ticket back into the game. So, yeah. 7 kills to 1, nearly a 2-level advantage. Look how deep Lucio is going on this one. He knows that he can. So they get vision. Kerrigan is coming over now too. They're a bit late to do anything about the camp, but they might just be able to pick up a kill. They jump in and they see Blaze, and wow, this could be a kill on him. They're taking him down. What about the gems? Can they be recovered? Denado comes in with... Oh, they're going for Mephisto. Mephisto in the back, and they take him too. Mephisto is down, and Denado... Look at Denado. Denado is desperately trying to find cover underneath this fort. They're going for it, and now Jojo is next. 54 gems have been destroyed. Easy hits. And what a play. Guys, that was all the gems that the blue team had with the exception of one. They just lost all their gems. Everything. That's insane. And that is a massive blow to Ukraine. Wow. Denmark is... right. I mean, these guys are on a roll. Absolutely on a roll. 10 kills to 1. Now we have heroic abilities for the Ukrainian team that will allow them to fight back. But with the next Webweaver wave descending, this is still going to be tricky. The walls have been destroyed earlier. Kill would go a long way though, if they can kill Kerrigan here. And they can! They take Kerrigan down. Nice. This is exactly what they needed. This is exactly what they needed. And they were able to pull it off. Can they get another one? They're going for Leoric. They want kill number 2. And all of a sudden the game flips a bit here. I like it. That helped them a ton. The Danish team is playing so much better here than I expected. But Ukraine, after being caught off guard a bit at the beginning of the game, is now trying to bring it back with a good kill. A defense in the mid lane. They're aiming for Muradin, who's desperately trying to get out of the fight. Has to pop Avatar too, and makes it. Leo escorting the Webweaver through at the bottom of the map. Top side, some damage will be done. Can they take the fort? That's the question. They will damage it, but how much damage can they do? Minion wave blasted apart. Fort nearly gone, but not quite. But down at the bottom of the map, Leoric was able to do a bit more work, escorting the catapults, the Webweavers and the minions to the wall, and therefore the gate is gone. And some of the towers will also be destroyed. 1 down, 2 down. The entire front wall has been crushed at the top. That's destroying the fort. Level 13 now for the Danish team. And they are pulling off quite the game here. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit repetitive right now, but I'm really surprised at how well they're doing. I didn't think they would do badly. I just didn't expect them to do this well. So I underestimated them a bit. I gotta say, might have to do with the fact that Sweden just crushed them. But this is quite the performance from Denmark. Denmark turned into Denmark. So, yeah, damn son. The boys are looking strong. Ukrainians haven't given up yet, though. They haven't turned a single gem in yet, but they have 44 that they're currently holding. So if they're able to go to a turning point, even without level 13, that would really help them to get a bit closer to their first objective. And once that they start getting some objectives here, now that we're a bit later in the game, they might be able to take structures down. They have lost 2 of their forts. 1 is still standing, which means they have a single fountain in the middle of the map that they can still use to just retreat after a team fight or during a team fight and regain a couple of hit points and mana points. Yeah, 10 to 2 kills. Still looking for the Nado. Oh, good jukes. Very good jukes. They were trying to anticipate the movements of Johanna a little bit, and both the Stormbolt and the Kerrigan combo missed. The Nado was sneaking past all of that. And, well, down to the bottom. We're now looking at more damage done by Blaze. He's on 21 gems himself. And they have level 13 talents. I mean, again, the red team is still ahead by 2 levels, but they've lost that talent advantage. So this is the moment where the Ukrainians can start to go and come in straight with a fight. This is one of the few chances in this game that they had so far to fight on even talents and try to take some kills. But they get interrupted over and over again. Here comes the blue team with an attempt to get web weavers going for themselves. And it seems that, yeah, Denmark is actually willing to let that pass. They are saying, yeah, we're not going to fight without level 16. We're so close to level 16 talents. Why would we battle this one out? We're going to try and interrupt this a bit. If we can deny it to the Nardo, then all the better. But here comes the play for Muradin and for Lucio. I love this. Denardo was channeling, and he did not try, like he could have baited this in even further, but it was a full bait. Look at this just for a second. Look at him just playing this out, waiting, and then turning with a blessed shield. Immediately they locked in the Hanzo's arrow, and all the stuns plus the Durance of Hate allowed them to get a double kill against Muradin and Lucio. So the red team a bit too greedy in that instance, and they get punished immediately. We have a boss now taken, we have the objective taken for Ukraine. They have their web weavers. Muradin and Lucio will be back, but this is exactly what the Ukrainian team needed. A double kill, a turn-in, getting a bit closer to level 16 themselves, closing the gap in experience. But they don't have the talent yet. They don't have level 16 yet, but they're getting there. So here we go. Fight is happening mainly at the top lane right now. But Blaze is in the middle. First web weaver has been defeated. They're still poking this. Still trying to see if they can slow them down with a well-placed Stormbolt. But Jojo dodges out on it again. Skullcracker is still supplying a few mini-stuns. But in the middle, the web weaver is also not able to make a real dent into this. The fort is still there. Of course, the blue team has to be super careful that they're not moving out too far and not taking a too risky fight simply because they don't have level 16. But now that they do, they go in again and they get another double kill. They take Lucio and they take Kerrigan. 6 kills to 10 and they go for Muradin. He's also not going to make it, and just like that the Ukrainians are catching up, and they are catching up quickly. Only 3 kills behind, not even half a level. Structures, this is where Denmark still has the big lead, but even there things could change soon since the boss is now about to be claimed by the blue team. So with this, we have 34,000 damage for the red team as a top damage. Gul'dan is the one to lead the charge here. Hasn't died yet. Crosby without a single death. Whereas at the top with 41,000 for Mephisto, he's taking the lead on the Ukrainian side. Fort is going to get destroyed. But what else can they do? Both teams have a turn-in available, by the way. Both teams do. Denardo trying to turn in, Houdini trying to turn in, everybody else is still up at the top. Ooh, Lucio. Oh, and he gets killed! Lucio is dead, and Kerrigan has to go for the Chrysalis, and she also falls. 8-9 kills to 10, and Ukraine is on an absolute tear. On an absolute rampage. The end of Gul'dan. Can't stop, won't stop. First they destroy the fort, now they go for the keep. 10 kills to 10, and they flipped the entire game on its head. Holy hell. Denmark is getting completely crushed in the last couple of minutes of this game. They have web weavers at the bottom of the map. This is going to spell the end of the Ukrainian keep at the bot lane. So that's good news for Denmark, especially since this is the lane that is the furthest away from the boss. It could become important in the later stages of the game. But wow, did this game flip. 6.5 out of 10. No comeback mechanics. But yeah, this is crazy. I mean, the early and the late game, totally different here. Completely upside down. Now, 20 is getting closer and closer for the Ukrainian team. They have the lead in experience. Yeah, Web Weavers over here in the core are not going to do anything. Problem is really that the red team only bought themselves some time with their turn in. They are not going to be able to get any real value out of it. But they could get a kill on Kerrigan. Arrow misses. Hanzo missed the arrow. Blaze isn't here. There's the heal for Mephisto, but I'm not sure if they can pull this one off. The stuns, they need a bit more than that. They try to make this happen. It's a 5 versus 4, and no game, no life. Dies. There's the kill. Blaze still trying to get level 20 for the Ukrainians, and they have it. And Hanzo goes for the Kerrigan kill. Kerrigan got Hanzo'd. Here comes Blaze, another stun. Leo is about to fall too. They traded 1 for 2, and they're trying to drop another target. Muradin is waiting for the cooldown, trying to hop out of the fight. He gets caught, he gets killed. 3 heroes down the drain, and it's a 4 versus 2 situation on the map in favor of the Ukrainian team with 13 kills to 11. Denmark is half a level away from their Storm Talents, and they're going to get this very quickly since they can just destroy those minion waves here. We have enough gems for a turn-in for Ukraine. Boy, oh boy, what a game. And I still don't know who's going to win this. I still have no idea, honestly, because with level 20 kicking in, we still have the situation where the boss is going to spawn again in a minute and a half, and you have to understand that there is continuous pressure at the bottom of the map against the core of the blue team with catapults. And this could become a problem. It's not unheard of that catapults will pressure here for your core. You have to send somebody back, and it's a standoff up at the top as everybody's trying to go for the boss. So this situation could definitely happen. And if it does, then Ukraine could lose this. But if they keep getting kills, then they're going to claim victory sooner rather than later. Because at this point, the forts will fall. That's a given. It's all about the keeps now. And Denmark is struggling to get kills. They're struggling to survive. It feels like every single fight that they engage in right now, they're getting crushed within seconds. So now the fort in the mid lane falls. The one at the bottom of the map is also getting destroyed by the web weavers. Leo can't do anything about it. And here in the middle, the real attack is ramping up for the blue team. So can they somehow stop this onslaught? Can they stop the bleeding? Can Denmark turn it around? Can they stabilize again? Seems tricky. They're gonna try though, but here comes the attack against the keep itself. They have level 20, they drive past it, and it's Mephisto that rips them a new one. 71,000 damage for Mephisto. Gul'dan with 69,000 is looking strong too, but not strong enough. 15 kills to 11. Kerrigan is dead. The keep has been destroyed, and the core will follow soon as they are going for the 5-man team wipe. This is game Ukraine turning it around against Denmark and locking in a victory in game number 1 of the best of 3 series in Group D of the Nations Cup qualifier. Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV. Game number 2 in the best of 3, and the Ukrainian team was able to turn it around. Didn't really look good for them in the early game. What was it? 1 kill to 10 or something along those lines. So yeah, Denmark, they had quite the start, especially with all of the stun combos that we got from Carrigan. They locked in kill after kill and took a massive lead, especially when Jojo died with 54 gems on the side of the Ukrainians. I really thought, okay, that is probably gonna be it. But somehow they rallied and were able to get 1 kill after another and turn it around. Now we're heading into game number 2 with the blue team holding the lead, and it's interesting to say the least. Really curious who is going to take this now. So can they do it? Yes, no. Will Denmark maybe be able to force the 3rd map of the series? This could very likely be the game that decides who takes second in the group. Now, the way that the group actually gets played out, it's going to take a while to really determine which team makes it out. Even Sweden still has to play 1 match. But there are some interesting dynamics in this group already, and the outcome of this particular series is gonna make a big difference for the teams here. Hogger banned, Brightwing also off the map. Keep in mind that heroes that were played on the last map can not be played again, not in the series at least, so kind of important here. And yeah, we'll see what they can now pull off. That means that Carrigan is gone and Mephisto's gone too, so that's actually good news when you think about it, because Carrigan was the hero that did so much work for the Team Denmark in the early game, and then later it was Mephisto that absolutely obliterated the red team. So both of them can't be played again, which is gonna make things a bit more interesting, since this is a very battle-heavy map. There's gonna be a lot of fights here on Battlefield whenever we're going for the Immortal itself. And it's going to be curious to see which heroes are going to play the main role here. Genji banned, so he's already out. No chance for him. No Light Bomb engage either. Still plenty of heroes that he could play, just focusing on the Immortal itself. Vala, Arrow build. Hansa has of course already been played, so he can't be played again. You could go for Li Ming if you want to get some mage damage in. Lunara is another option. So there's plenty to go around still. We have 90 heroes in Heroes of the Storm, so 10 not being pickable is not really that big of a deal. And they go for Sylvanas. Yeah, Crosby has played Sylvanas in the previous series already once, so now they're gonna try again over here. How is the blue team going to react though? Can they take it 2-0? I mean, the Ukrainian team has done a fantastic job getting back into the game, so maybe after the initial shock they are now more so in... there's a Vala pick, okay, Anduin and Vala. Yeah, maybe after that initial shock they now recovered and are now a bit more settled and can really just fully focus, you know, and like unleash their full power with a stable game. But for the early game they definitely should be a bit careful, because Denmark, they're starting things off with fireworks. BOE. Second big phase, we get a new Burak for the dive. Sylvanas can follow that up later also with a Wailing Arrow, assuming she goes for that. Lunara, again, predicted her already a bit with the poison damage against the Immortal. Can easily poke. If you need her to reposition, then Leap is always a great option, but if not, then Thornwood Vines can poke from afar and really help you to either take down structures or take down the Immortal slowly and steadily as the game continues. So definitely a good start for them. Also provides a couple of slows that you can play around. What do you ban though? Side laners. You could still attack the side laners here. They go for Stukov. They don't want a Nubarak paired off with someone that can properly follow up on that. Normally you would go for Malfurion or Stukov. Sometimes we've seen it with Anduin. We've seen it with a few others as well. But no, again, Malfurion and Stukov are the two big ones. Stukov more so. And of course, next double pick goes to the blue team. So, let's see. Well, we get the Haka banned, so they are targeting the side lane. With the Nubarak, you could also play Urel. Urel would work well. Blaze has already been played in the previous game, so he's not available any longer. But Urel would still be an option. Could also go into a more aggressive version of all of this, of course, and drop a Mephisto on them. Malthael. But yeah, there's Uther. Uther main tank! Double support Vala and the Urel. Okay, so now it starts to become interesting. Because normally when you see a Vala on Battlefield of Eternity, you would immediately jump to the conclusion it's going to be an arrow build. With this setup, they could go auto attack. Don't think so, but it has happened before, even on Battlefield of Eternity. So, still leaning towards an arrow build. Even just being aggressive with Vala when you're trying to stack your level 1 quest on the arrows. Even there it's helpful to have 2 supports. But we'll see what the last pick is going to be. Tyrael and Anna now for Denmark, which means they have a Tyrael side laner who could go Judgment. Yeah, you could see the Judgment here, and very likely Nano Boost. Drop there, and Sylvanas could obviously also go in the Eye of Horus, but final pick in game number 2 for Ukraine. What are we getting from them? What's the play here? Vala, does she get another damage dealer? Or a bit more melee? They go for Chen. Hyper carry Vala in the backline with Chen, Urel and Uther at the front. Let's go. Battlefield of Eternity, everybody. The second map between Ukraine and Denmark. Battlefield of Eternity, map number 2, Icecorp plays Vala for the blue team. We have Arabano on Urel, Denardo on Uther. Blu-ray on Anduin, and No Game No Life is playing Chen for Ukraine. As on the right side of the map, Denmark who have to win 2 in a row now if they want to decide this series in their favor. They played with Chiazeka, aka Soboy, on Anna, the Legend on Sylvanas, Chinatown on Anubarak. We have Baby Houdini on Tyrael, and Crosby is playing Lulnara. Not a lot of choices made yet from Ukraine when it comes to talents, but definitely going to keep an eye on Vala here since she is the main damage dealer. And there it is! Auto attack. No arrow, not focusing on the Immortal. Instead, it's all going to be about auto attacks for her. Helps with Immortal damage, of course, too. It's not quite the same as locking in Monster Hunter on level 7 for yourself. But it's all of whether or not they can keep her alive, whether or not they can make sure that she is going to retain her Gambit stacks and be able to properly stack the quest up at the same time. So, really interesting. Gives a couple of opportunities also for Denmark to now come through and try and just drop Icecorp. Don't forget that there's already Sylvanas getting destroyed. Alright, Sylv is down. First blood for Ukraine. Vala at the bottom of the map still getting attacked on the other hand. Especially poked by Crosby, who's playing Lunara in this game. So 2 of them going toe-to-toe here. And Vala trying to lock in a few more stacks with the auto attack quest. But important to note, again, as I was about to say, that Tyrael is, of course, played in a side laner position, so he can go for Judgment, and that would threaten Vala even further. You have, with the 2 supports that they have here, already some cleanses that you can throw out. You have a Divine Shield that is possible for Vala, and we have, of course, pretty much a triple tank situation going on. The main tank player is playing Uther. We have Chen, we got also Urel, and they are starting to chase them down further and further down here. Yeah, Sylvanas dies for the 2nd time, and they're also getting a hit in on a Anubarak that drops the bug, so the cockroach is gone. And that leaves us with 21 stacks on Vala at the 2-minute mark. So things are going really well for the Ukrainian team. They're just continuing where they left off in game number 1. They came in, took 3 kills, were able to claim the camp at the bottom of the map, and are now ahead in experience too. So, thus far, they can be pretty happy with how everything is developing for them. Denmark, on the other hand, they're not going to be too happy about this. They have to definitely come up with a solution to all of this. They have tools that can be used. You have potential Judgment, you can be very aggressive. So what they can do after level 10 is they can be trying to very aggressively get isolated kills. You drop the Cocoon, you isolate one of the supports, you go for Judgment and dive in, Wailing Arrow follows, and then they can come through with Lunara, with Sylvanas, and try and add damage. So it is a scary composition. Execution is going to be everything for them. It's not going to be easy to break through all of the sustain that Ukraine has. And on top of that, they also have a lot of stuns in CC, as Anubarak can tell you, because he just experienced it firsthand. Now we have the quest completed for Uther. And we have also more and more damage done at the bottom wall. Yeah, about to take down one of the towers here. Bit of vision will of course be great for them as well, just to see what's going on behind it. But this is such a good start for the blue team. You have to be careful that you're not getting too cocky. That's more or less what happened to Denmark on the last one. I'm pretty sure that we were not the only ones thinking that Denmark had game number 1 in the bag. Pretty sure that they themselves also thought that this was pretty much a win. But as it turns out, we were all mistaken. So now we have 44 stacks for Vala. She still gets a few more out here. Barely dodges out on the stun, but there wasn't a follow-up available anyways. Yeah, soon sitting on 50. First quest reward for Vala is ready. And they're already pulling her out of the fight just to be on the safe side. Don't want to risk those gambit stacks. You want to retain all of that attack speed. Especially since the goal is to have it available when you get Manticore. Manticore is the big the level 16 and level 20 for Vala are the massive ones when you're playing an auto attack style. Those are absolutely huge. The extra damage that you get, especially against hit point heavy frontliners with 16, is crazy. And then the extended range as well. So as long as they can keep her alive long enough, that would be fantastic. Uther dies. They can sacrifice him. That's going to be a big problem. 63 stacks now for Vala. A few more to be had. Dives out. Nice juke. Really nice juke. Already using the vault earlier and then realizing that Anubara came in from the side and not falling for the stun. That was a big juke play here from Icecorp. 4 kills to 1. Level 7 is ready for them. But the blue team is losing the... the blue team is currently losing the Immortal. Pretty significantly at that. They haven't really done any damage themselves, and this is of course where the extra Immortal damage comes into play for Denmark. They have drafted a composition that is much better at racing the Immortal down than the opponent's team. But Vala is sitting at 73 stacks. That's not bad. I mean, again, you don't have to win every single Immortal. If you are in the early game just getting these fights and allow Vala to get kills and then play for the mid and late game, you can do a ton here. Vala is getting super aggressive on this, and just look at how much they're pressuring this, but they have to keep her alive. She's able to get the kill in, but now she's getting targeted too, barely able to move out of the battle. Icecorp is still stacking it up like a boss. He's sitting at 96 stacks, and we're only 5 minutes into the game. He came close to dying once or twice, but the two supports really did a fantastic job to keep him in there. Denardo and Arbano on... Denardo and Blu-ray really doing the work. Now the shield is being reduced. They realize they will lose the Immortal eventually, but as long as they're reducing the shield and keeping it at a minimum, they're going to be fine. So it's only going to be 4,000, 5,000 hit points on the shield. Vala's damage already is at 18,000. Now Lunara is at 20k. But again, the damage of Vala is going to ramp up as the game continues, particularly if she is able to stay alive. So this could get real dangerous for Denmark. But for now, the Danish team, they have an opportunity. They can use Sylvanas together with the Immortal. They have the Sylvanas factor in this one. So if they go and take a huge amount of structural advantage now by damaging this out, that would be fantastic. Second quest reward for Vala with the 102 stacks that she now has. So gets 2% of extra damage. And yeah, they are going to save that fort for now. By a sliver. Doesn't have a lot of hit points, but still some left. With level 10 abilities, we're going to likely get the top kick plays for Chen. And, well, down at the bottom of the map, they could still go for a few camps. All about experience right now. Try to get the early level 10, of course, too. As much as you can in this case. And, yeah, so she is going to do real well here. Currently, the 25% attack speed are there. And the damage output that they're getting is going to be 6 city. Good invade though. Nice invade. The blue team is still able to claim the camp. So all the aggression that we just saw from Denmark in vain. Couldn't do anything with that. Instead, they are about to lose Sylvanas. A real problem for the legend. And Sylvanas is gone. Top kick play attempt to net themselves another kill. Didn't quite work out. Even Vala popping the strafe instantly. But they only were able to move them back, push them behind the gate, which is about to be destroyed. So is the tower at the bot lane. And the party continues. Pressure against the opponent's fort. Tyrael moving in from the top. There's so many minions right now to soak up the shots. And they are murdering this thing. They probably won't be able to destroy it already. Ooh, actually, now that they're making a move for Lunara and push her back even further, they might just be able to pull it off a bit. Level 10 abilities are getting very, very close, though, for Denmark. And again, they have a chance of going for Judgment Wailing Arrow as a combo. So I would be a bit more careful if I'm Ukraine now and play this slow. There's level 10. And it's no judgment. They're not getting aggressive against Vala. Instead, they're just going for the double layer. They have Sanctification now. And we have Sylvanas pushed to the wall again. And they get the kill. Sanctification is in. Vala still alive. 130 stacks for her now. Another strafe to poke him down even further. And it ends with the death of Anna. What an absolute shit show from the perspective of the Danish team. They went in deep looking for kills and they found only death. An entire level lead, 8 kills to 1. Vala at 140 stacks already. No counter opportunity for Denmark in that last fight. And here we are, 32,000 damage for Vala, 33,000 for Lunara, and the blue team just looks so much better on the Immortal. They have won the halftime show without a problem whatsoever. It's a 5 versus 5 on the map now. And Denmark needs a change. They need something. They need some kind of opening here to not only win the objective, but also control the damage output of Vala a little bit. She's getting closer and closer to 16. 4 levels are missing, and as soon as she has Manticore, her damage output is going to explode if she can maintain the attack speed and also the rate at which she's stacking here. I mean, we have her nearly at 3 additional points per stack. So right now she's 145. Cocoon was used against Uth. They don't even have to deal with him. Still poking with it slowly. Light Bomb engage and a quad stun. Quad stun by him and the kill on Sylvanas. Vala with 155 stacks. And they are going even deeper now. Urel might get punished for it, but even she's still alive. Even Arabano is not dead yet as they're chasing Tyrael over here. It's just getting really nasty for the front line of Denmark. And they're having such a tough time staying alive in these battles, even with Sanctification. The bottom fort, of course, already gone. Now level 13 on the horizon for Ukraine. And the blue team is also claiming victory on the objective itself. The Immortal goes to them. And that's gonna likely spell the end of the top fort. Very likely going to lose this one now. And Vala has the Tempered by Discipline, so even a bit of self-sustain that she can now use in these fights. But yeah, she's crushing it. Damage output on her end, 39,000. Lunara still ahead in damage. Still ahead in damage, but a lot of that is damage over time that gets easily healed out by the 2 supports. So, yeah. Red team trying to defend. I don't think they can hold this fort. Chen is now moving towards the top 2. He can go for the bunker play. No, not quite. He doesn't have a bunker, but he has a big barrel. He has a big keg, and he could keg it up. Doesn't even have to keg it against Sylvanas, as it seems. Sylvanas is dead, and they pushed it way past the fort as they're trying for more damage. In this case, it's a Nubarak that's on the receiving end. Vala wants the kill and gets Cocoon, still able to drop him. So, yeah, bad news. Not only was the cooldown sacrificed, but he died too. Vala's at 48,000 damage now, 168 stacks. They're getting closer and closer to the keep. Blasting through that wall. Sylvanas back to business. But damn. Yep. Getting nasty. Getting real nasty. Another push. Oh, Crosby gets nano boosted. Can they get a kill here? And no, they cannot, as it seems. The support's just sustaining them too much. Keep is down to 50% HP. Another top keg play. And Vala takes down Tyrael. Tyrael destroyed, Anubarak diving deep. Vala turning it immediately. Nearly 200 stacks for Ice Corp now. Getting massive hits in against Crosby too. And they're only a level away from Manticore for her. But I mean, even without Manticore, they're already doing such a great job. They might not be able to get the keep just yet, but they're getting closer and closer and they're sieging up continuously on it. But eventually, I think they will have to fall back here. Getting level 16 for the next objective is probably going to be worth more to them. Anubara could try and force the fight with the Cocoon, but I don't see it happening. And they're just wrapping around. They see the Tyrael is at the bottom of the map for now, so they're wrapping around in an attempt to get another kill. Not happening. And now Baby Houdini is also joining the fun at the top. Comes in, light bomb in the back line. Yrel jumps into Ana, pushed into a corner and attacked. And Vala dies for the first time. The Ukrainians getting a bit too greedy now. They went in deep and they lost Vala. They're trying to recover the fight. Ana is dead. Uther is dead too, but so is Lunara. So all of a sudden, a lot of the damage that Denmark has is gone. They at least got one of the stacks removed from Vala. So one Gambit stack is now gone, which means she is at 20% added attack speed. But the pressure is still there. 14 kills to 3, and now Manticore is available. So once that Vala is back to business, she is gonna have access to the extra damage, and the front line is not gonna have a lot of fun with this. So, yep, there it is. But alright, down to the bottom of the map, Chen even saving the fort here. The Stinger has been in play the entire time, only taking damage through the initial Immortal attack. But yep, now it's a 5 versus 5. Halftime show. Might have to sacrifice it. But there we go. With that, we have the play incoming as they're moving towards the top. Vala can now go for it. Strafe is there. And now it's time for Manticore. Chen kicking it up. Anubarak doesn't want to have any action in this. Immediately out. And Tyrael! Alright, with the Sanctification is immediately joining the fight. But look how quickly his hit points are melting away here. Vala should have by now taken over on the top damage numbers. Hasn't quite. Lunara, Crosby is actually beasting it on the hero. 71,000 for him. Again, he's struggling because a lot of this is damage over time that the two supports can deal with as the battles continue. Vala with a more direct damage, but with the 67,000, she's also likely to get big boosts now in these team fights thanks to the level 16 talent. And once that she has level 20, it's gonna happen from an even bigger distance. So, yeah. Top side also has to be shielded against the catapults that are in there, which more or less means that they might have to give up the objective. I mean, the problem for Denmark is simply that they can't go to 16. So either they accept that the Immortal is going to attack them, or they are risking taking the fight without even talents. Now, they are trying to burn this down, so it's just more or less a race on the Immortal, and the blue team should be able to win it, especially now that Chen has moved in and started to waste their time a bit with another keg. So he's buying the team some space and time to deal with the objective. And that actually worked quite nicely. But alright, we now have 212 stacks for Vala. Spray game on point over here. Red team hopes for the minion wave so that they can get level 16. That's going to be the big one. And there it is. So even talents for the defense. Couldn't go for the Immortal, but at least they can defend on the same level. And ooh, we got a pause. Now, it seems like everybody is still in here, so apparently there's not a disconnect. Honestly, as far as disconnects goes and pauses or whatever happened here, this is probably one of the better timings. Just before the fight happens, not in the middle of it. The Immortal is just now making its approach. Everybody is still behind the wall. No vision has been granted, so it is about as good as it gets. If that happens 10 seconds later, the pause would have been really unfortunate. But when we're talking about a 3-2-3 moment, this is probably a halfway decent one. So the risk for Denmark is that they're losing a keep here. The Immortal doesn't have a big shield though, so the shield is tiny. Lunara herself should be able to take it out in just a moment, in just a second. And then it comes down to whether or not the blue team can get a kill, or if they have to fall back. So this could definitely go to the next objective and maybe even to level 20. Depends a bit on how much Denmark can do here, but it's an even talent fight. We have the 2-level advantage still for Ukraine, so they have a stats advantage over the blue team that they can play with. But yeah, time will tell what exactly they can pull off here. The defense is not impossible. That's the important thing to take from this. But controlling Vala is going to be key. They killed her once in the last fight, and that helped a lot. But before Nubarak was already struggling, and so was Tyrael. So they got to see what they can do now. 7 deaths on Sylvanas. Yeah, not doing too well. The Legend definitely struggling a bit over here. Trying to get not only the damage through, but also to survive through these fights. And it's been going very rough for him. But if they can maybe keep Sylvanas a bit farther in the back and wait until everybody goes in, get the Veiling Arrow connected, and then make the approach, might be a bit easier here. When it comes to ults, that's actually also something that I should point out here. We have Urel with 27 seconds without her level 10. So this is a pretty important one for her if she wants to be aggressive. We'll likely see her play this out a bit slower. And the same could also be said of Chen, who's at 12-second cooldown on his barrel. So both of them can't just jump over the wall and risk being targeted here, because they do not have a padding button left that would allow them to escape. So gotta be super careful around this. But yeah, we'll see what exactly they can pull off here with this push once that the game gets unpaused and whatever issue the Ukrainians have is resolved. Because their goal is to go for the key, but I'm not 100% certain if they can really pull it off given the situation that we're in right now. Well, and with that, we're back to business. So, the first tower is gone, the gate as well. Here comes that push we've been talking about. Chen about to have his ult back up. And yeah, the Immortal, as expected, is getting burned down very, very quickly by the Danish team. The Keep, on the other hand, is losing hit points very fast as well. And they might still be able to grab this one, especially if they can get a kill. Anubarak getting stunned out here. Not baiting the Sanctification just yet, but Anub is super low and has to retreat. The Keep is gone. They're hoping for kills here. Divine Shield on Vala as she's stacking it up more, trying to put the pressure onto the front line. Sanctification had to be used. They're using the Cocoon here in an attempt to still force the battle. They need this fight. It's a 16 versus 16 fight, and Denmark needs to get some headway. Baby Houdini moving out. Anna with the pew 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 continuously trying to keep everybody in play, but it's super difficult for her. And Crosby just dropping the damage on them. Crosby is murdering it with Lunara. We talked a lot about, with Lunara. We talked a lot about Vala here, and her damage is of course insane, especially since it is single target direct damage. But Crosby is now at 93,000 damage with Lunara, and he's really been the one that forced Ukraine back over and over again. So respect. Respect to Denmark and respect to Crosby for still holding on to this game. The problem is really the gap in experience for them. If it was a level, they could eventually bridge it, but being 2.5 levels behind, that's a completely different story. Chen kegging in, setting things up for Vala again as she comes through with a strafe. Gets interrupted though. Vala's a bit low, but they still are. Oh, the kill on Tyrael was so close. Just barely missed out on it. Look at all that poison damage. Crosby nano boosted now with more and more hits. I mean, he is just crushing it. Icegorp gets heals from 2 supports and is still nearly dying. Perfect light bomb engage from Fat Illidan as he went deep, and Vala is murdering Sylvanas again. That's death number 8 on Sylvanas. She's just too much on the squishy side. Anubarak goes down. Crosby at 109,000 hit points. Yeah, that would be insane. 109,000 damage. But as the core is already getting attacked down at the bottom, Lunara finds herself as the solo defender in this second game. The B-steps are real. He's been playing a fantastic game. I mean, shout out to Crosby. It's awesome to see him here again in these games, but he's not going to be able to win it for his team. Vala has done a bit too much in that last fight, and now they can go for the core here. Well done, well played. Ukraine with a 2-0 victory against Denmark in this best-of-3 series at Group D of the European Qualifier. GG and well played. Thank you everybody for watching the video today. I hope that you enjoyed the show and the commentary. And keep in mind that the spoiler protection that is going to run for the rest of the video is made possible by all the support on patreon.com. So guys, if you want to support my work, if you want to help me start new projects and keep the spoiler protection in place, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Khaldor. There's also a link in the YouTube description, and check that out. Thanks in advance, and see you guys next time with more esports coverage here on Khaldor TV. Have a great day.